Hey everyone, have you ever noticed how some words just sound good while others are kind of clunky? Well, today we're digging into the hidden science behind all of that, exploring why some words feel so different when we hear them.
I mean, it's something we all kind of feel, right? Think about a word like lullaby. It just sounds so much softer than a word like, say, scrape. So what's going on there? Is it all just in our heads, or is there some real science at play? Well, that is exactly what we are going to unpack.
And to help us figure this out, we're going to zoom in on one specific word, one that I think you'll agree sounds pretty incredible. Try saying it out loud. Mellifluous. It just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Mellifluous.
Okay, first up, a word that flows. Let's take this one word and just pull it apart to see what makes it tick. So where does this gorgeous word even come from? Well, its origin is just as elegant as its sound. It's straight from Latin, combining mel, which means honey, and fluere, which means to flow. So literally, it means flowing with honey. You can almost feel that smooth, sweet quality in the word itself. Now, if you look it up in the dictionary, specifically the Royal Spanish Academy, since it's a Spanish word, it gives you two official meanings. The first one is literal, something that's like honey. But it's the second one where things get really interesting. It can also describe a way of speaking that is sweet, soft, and tender. That fits perfectly with that first impression we got, right?
But, and this is a big but, here's the twist. Despite that beautiful sound and its sweet definition, the dictionary adds this little warning label. It says its use is often pejorative or negative. So how on earth can a word that sounds so lovely be used as an insult?
And this is where you really see the two faces of this word. On one side, it's all about being sweet and tender. But on the negative side, it lines up with words like cloying or sickly sweet. A sweetness that's just too much, that feels fake, maybe even a little manipulative.
This whole thing just begs a much bigger question, doesn't it? Can we actually, scientifically measure the quality of a word's sound? Well, it turns out the answer comes from a concept we borrowed from the world of music.
And that concept is timbre. You've experienced this a million times. It's the unique color or like the texture of a sound. It's the reason you can tell the difference between a piano and a guitar, even if they're playing the exact same note. It's like the sound's unique fingerprint. And what's so cool is that our brains apply this exact same idea to language. We hear words as having a texture. A word can sound harsh or sweet or even velvety. And mellifluous, that's got to be on the velvety end of the scale for sure. Okay, so words have texture, but does that actually matter? Does this beautiful sound, this pleasant timbre, have a real effect on our brains? Does it change how we think, or, even more important, how we remember things? As it turns out, a pretty groundbreaking study decided to find out. They looked for a direct link between how beautiful a word sounds and our ability to actually remember it. So, researchers at the University of Vienna designed this really elegant experiment to see if the words that sound beautiful to us are also the ones that are easier to remember. Here was the setup, and it's brilliant in its simplicity. First, they just made up words, total nonsense words or pseudo words, so nobody had any existing connection to them. They designed some to sound really pleasant, some totally neutral, and some, kind of ugly. Then they simply had people try to memorize the lists and see what they could recall later. And the result? It was incredible. It was so clear-cut. As a lead researcher, Dr. Teresa Matzinger put it, the words that participants remembered with greater ease were precisely those that they themselves rated as more beautiful. And this chart just lays it all out, plain and simple. There was a direct link. The prettier people thought a word sounded, the better they remembered it. And the words that sounded harsh or ugly? Way, way harder for people to lock into their memory. So, this is way more than just a cool piece of trivia. This connection between sound, beauty, and memory, it has some pretty huge implications for the real world. Think about it. In education, this could change how we teach vocabulary. In marketing, it helps explain why some brand names are just so catchy they get stuck in your head. And for linguists, it offers a totally new way to understand why some words stick around for centuries while others just fade away. It all points to this much grander idea, almost like a linguistic survival of the fittest. The theory is that languages themselves might naturally evolve to favor words and sound patterns that aren't just useful, but are also nice to listen to and easy to remember. Beauty becomes a survival tool. But, of course, a great discovery like this always leaves us with a brand new puzzle to solve. One of those classic chicken or the egg questions that the researchers are still thinking about. Is a word like mellifluous so beautiful because its sounds are just inherently pleasing, and that pleasure helps it stick in our memory? Or do we only perceive it as beautiful because our brains find its sound patterns easy to process and remember? It's a pretty mind-bending question, isn't it? It just goes to show you, inside every single word, there's a whole universe of science just waiting to be explored.